Hugo?
Come and see.
It's me. Your sister? Amicia?
Hello.
We haven't seen each other much. Mummy will be back soon.
Move! Come on!
Hello and welcome to the Geek Show. We'll talk about another game. It's A Plague Tale: Innocence, and before I get any further, do click that subscribe button and that notification bell to stay up to date. Now, A Plague Tale: Innocence is set in the age of the plague. I'm not going to embarrass myself by getting the dates wrong. Not that it matters anyway, because this isn't a game about historical accuracy. This is a game about character. It's a game about atmosphere, and that is fundamentally the R by which this game is actually really rather excellent. But the story, you are Amicia. One day you're out hunting with your dad. You don't get to see him a lot of times. It's his first time he's actually spent any extended time with you. You're out hunting with your dog as well. Something really bad happens to your dog, and so if you don't like bad things happening to your dog, beware of that scene early on. You head back to the manor which you live. You are like a landowner, so you have some sort of importance in the area. When you get there, the Inquisition is there, and they're trying to stop the outbreak of the plague. Something that you have a role in. I'm not going to spoil that, but bad things happen, and you, Amicia, and your little brother Hugo meet for the first time, and you're essentially on the run, trying to outrun the plague, trying to outrun being captured, and that is the setup. This scene that you're seeing now is early on in the game, where you find the first town, and the plague, like all the X's on the door that you see there, it's basically turned the town mad. And the people who are there feral, because they want to protect what they already have and stop anybody who they might think is bringing in the plague, and so on and so forth. And what I really like about this is the sense of character. I mean, there's a sense of character in the idea that it's based in an era of gaming which isn't really done a lot in sort of adventure games. It's more of a strategy, it's more of a niche historical era which we are playing in here. But more important than that is, again, the music and the sense of character. Amicia is a teenage girl who is looking after her little brother for the first time it's meeting him, because there's something up with him. And you learn to love each of the characters because they are surviving, they are looking after each other. I mean, the little boy Hugo in particular is just an absolute sweetheart. If you don't fall for him, you've got a heart of stone, frankly. And a credit to that has to go to the acting, which is uniformly excellent, and the script, which keeps you compelled, keeps the plot moving, and keeps you interested in the characters. And the music in particular, the music is also excellent, I feel, because there's a scene there where you're being chased, and it really, really does give you the fear of God, the fear of you being caught, the fear of what's going to happen to these characters, because, like I said, the game puts an awful lot of value in building up who these people are, and you basically have like finding a connection with them. So the story is there's the setup, you know, the plague's about, the Inquisition are there and they're after you. How it unfolds as a narrative is basically like The Last of Us. You start off somewhere and you go somewhere new, you go somewhere new, you go somewhere new, and it's the surviving along the path where the story, where the character building, and where the intrigue and interest comes from. The gameplay loops are twofold. I'll talk about the one that's on screen now. The thing that carries the plague are rats, and it's very telling that this game is out now, because there's also another game which has like a similar sort of swarm in Days Gone, the PlayStation exclusive. Days Gone, you play a big burly biker dude where you can defend yourself and you're perfectly capable of fending off that swarm, whether, I don't know, I haven't played it, but it gives you the means to fight that off. It gives you the means to survive. As Amicia and Hugo, the only means you have to survive are a few alchemical tricks, a slingshot and light. And it presents you with these situations where this is a fairly benign one, where you're just it's basically the first scene the first sequence where you're interacting with the rats and you're discovering that the rats are in fact terrifying. They eat people alive, all those nuns, not nuns, abbots and priests and whatnot on the floor have been eaten alive by the rats. So it's a bleak game. But yes, you have to sort of puzzle your way through the game. It's a linear game, so there's only one way to do things, and that's refreshing. It's just a straightforward game. It's exactly what it needs to be. But you're puzzling your way through the game, you're finding the path, you're cutting down the meat, you're throwing an alchemical thing to set a bonfire on light, and, you're just struggling your way through it. You're getting a slab of a stick, lighting it, walking through the swarm, as the swarm sort of just creates a hole in it so you can walk through it. It's a really cool effect, I think. And the swarm is cool. It's just cool. It's also quite terrifying as well, because like I say, it makes you invest in these characters. So seeing them being eaten alive isn't a particularly pleasant experience. And connecting with games characters, I think, is a rarity in today's age. The other gameplay loop is against the Inquisition, who, if they see you, they capture your little brother Hugo, and they will rather brutally just, there you go, the rats, terrifying things, will all sort of knock Amicia down, and kill her. So it's one shot kill, you're dead. So the stakes there, and it's a stealth game, and it's not a stealth game where you're going to have like an awful lot of ability to defend yourself. It's a stealth game where all you can use is your slingshot, which, as you power it up, as you saw in a little bit earlier on, it had like the leveling up system for your kit. As you level it up, you can kill guys who don't have a helmet on. There's a boss fight around that sort of concept at some point in the game later. But fundamentally, what you have is your slingshot. You can make noises. If you use your slingshot, it'll make too much noise, so you throw the stones and hit like something metal, and they'll always be distracted, which is rather derivative, but again, what can you do really with a teenage girl with stones and a few alchemical tricks up her bags? It's exactly what it can be, and I'm not disappointed in that. It's just, it is what it is. You can get hit at certain points of the game by really rather mean bits when it comes to the stealth. But again, that plays in with the tone, because the Inquisition really want to capture Hugo, and they will put out a lot of military might when they can afford it during the daylight, because during the night the rats are out, and it'll pose you with these situations where you are hopefully like massively outmanned, and it's quite mean-spirited trying to find your way through it. But again, you are compelled to go through it because of the character, because of you want to know what happens to them. And that is something which, for me, if the gameplay loops are repetitive, the gameplay loops are whatever, it doesn't matter to me, because at the end of the day, these are characters that you grow and care about, and that's underrated. That's totally underrated in games, I feel. But yeah, I really like this. I want to talk about something else. I see what I mean here. They're just absolutely no bones about doing in Amicia. It's kind of savage, but it is a very quick restart, so it's not going to punish you in any way. But anyway, I was going to say, let's talk about around this, because I've named this video The Rise and Rise of Focus Home Entertainment, because I genuinely do believe that. We have the AAA market, which many other YouTube channels have talked about in many different lights, both complimentary and against it. But once upon a time, they used, let's say PlayStation 2. PlayStation 2 was really popular because it had like a spectrum of games. It had like the big games, it had the small games, and it had the things in between. The things in between are what gave the PlayStation 2 such value for money, because it gave you a wide spectrum of types of games that you could play. Focus Home Entertainment purveys of the mid-range game, and I don't mean the mid-range game in a sort of derogatory way which YouTube reviewers who do mobile phones talk about mid-range phones. I mean mid-range games as in it's a tight campaign, very well designed, and it's not got a lot of replayability, but you will enjoy the hell out of it, and so on and so forth. And Focus Home Entertainment, every game they're getting better. Every game they're knuckling down on what this thing is they're doing. And they do historical genre games. This is a historical genre game, and I enjoyed the hell out of it, really. I was surprised, frankly. And Focus Home Entertainment are growing with each game. They're becoming more ambitious with each game. I mean, look at that swarm mechanics. Look at some of their earlier games, and they couldn't even dream of doing stuff like that. So they're really finding their step. They're really growing as a publisher. And I think it makes games richer to have companies that do this. And I'm intrigued to see... Oh, that's always grim. I'm intrigued to see where Focus Home Entertainment go in the future, because as we speak now, this is a sleeping giant, in my opinion. Just look at how much a game improves time after time after time. In games, that's not really, you don't really have the opportunity to see that much, because there's indie games who do what they do very well. There's AAA games which are doubling down on some of the more insidious aspects of gaming culture. Something in between that. I think it's really special, and most people will look at this game and won't think a lot of it, and I think shame on you, frankly, because this is one of my sleeper hits of the year so far, really. It's really intrigued me, and I think the main reason for that, like I've highlighted in this video to this point, is that sense of character. And I'll say long may Focus Home Entertainment's improvement on each title long may it continue, because I'm intrigued to see where they go. I'm intrigued to see how they build up with this. And please, if this looks intriguing, please do give it a chance, because games like this are just kind of, to use in a phrase which is relevant to this game, they just get kind of swallowed up by the swarm. And for Plague Tale: Innocence deserves way more than that. It really is a charming, special little game.